Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome back to the channel. And welcome to a new Outlook video for the upcoming week. So in an effort to make these videos just that little bit shorter, I've already gone through the pairs on the right hand side that I'll be interested in for the week. And I've highlighted them in yellow and red. So I'll just be going through those pairs. There are some other opportunities on the unselected pairs that I'll probably be looking at during the week, but they're very similar setups as to the pairs that are already highlighted. Alright, so just cracking off with GBPAUD. So this is very similar to last week's Outlook. We're just kind of still waiting for this to play out. So if I see a break of this level, just a break of this lower area here, and you know, a nice impulsive move down, come back up, retest, then I'll probably look for further short positions. But what we could probably see from this area, because it's so strongly respected in the past, you know, like these areas here, we might actually just see a push up and a bounce from this area. If that does happen and I see a break of this sort of trend line here, so if we see a further push up and you know it's impulsive enough to break this trend line, come back down and test it, then I'll look for long positions up into this area. So I'm just keeping this on the list for this week. GBPCAD. Alright, so the outlook for this is still the same. So I just neatened the trend line just a little bit. I think before I had my trend line a bit like this, but now I've just adjusted it to, you know, to clean up the price action just that little bit more. So let me just clean this up actually. Okay, remove this. No, you know what, I'll leave that on there. Right. Yeah, so right now price is respecting this trend line here, which you can see was heavily rejected in the past, this sort of area, right? Rejected here in the past, and this is all on the daily. So I'll just draw this zone in here so it's a little bit clearer for you all to see. So this is where price is currently. So if I start to see price make some rejections and you know start to make this U-turn, then I'll probably look to get involved in this pair, right? And I'll just probably enter at the level, stops will go beneath, and then target previous highs for initial targets, right? So something like that. So I'll keep this on the chart for me just as a reminder, but I'll be looking at a trade something like that this week. If we see price continue to push lower, right, then we'll want to see it. Yeah, we want to see it push lower, come back up, retest, and then look for a drop, right? So I'll keep an eye on that as well if price does continue to push lower. But my bias, because of the uptrend, I'll be looking for buys for now. But if we see that break, then you know my bias may change to short. So that's the outlook for this week. I'll just put okay. GBPJPY, I'm leaving this one as red, but the outlook is still the same, right? On the daily chart, I'd like to see a nice strong push up past this level. I'll just update the arrow, right? Okay, so I'd like to see a nice strong push up past this level, come back down, retest, and then look for further long positions. But like I said before, because of how strong this was rejected in the past and how strong it held as resistance, as support and resistance here in the past, I don't know, you might actually see it fall from this level, right? But I wouldn't be taking any short positions because my bias is to the upside. But I'll be keeping an eye on this anyway. So, but we'll see. EURAUD, this is still green for me because I'm still holding this position. There's no entries or re-entries on this pair just yet. There was a re-entry on Friday, which is a trade that I shared in my recap video. So but there's no re-entries at the moment. So if we were to find a re-entry, it will be a break of this level, come back up, retest it, and then drop lower. If price pushes back up into this level without rejection and it keeps going, because it may come up to test this trend line or even come back up to the zone, then I'll probably look to exit my position around here. Alright, so on market open, I may move my stops into profit around this area, just above this level. So yeah, I'll be keeping an eye on this. But for further re-entries, if I was looking for trades on this pair, it will be a break of this level, come back up, retest it, and then look for shorts, right? So I'll just move this because that is from last week. I'll leave this level in here because that will be my level of structure for protection on my stop loss. So I'll put my stops in profit around here. So I'll just leave that so I could keep track of it. And I'll just update this. So what I'll look for here from now is a breakdown lower, back up, test, and then look for a further position, right? If I see that happen, I'll take another entry around this level. EURCHF. Okay, so this pair, let's see, I'll jump out to the daily. Okay, so this is a 4-hour level, so we could just move that to the top for the daily level, right, just to keep it a little bit cleaner, and then we'll drop to the 4-hour later and I'll show you what I'm looking for. Okay, so so we had this push up, came back down to the trend line and this area and rejected, right? And on a 4-hour level, this is a area of a minus 4-hour level. So I'm just keeping this on my watch list because of the level on the 4-hour chart. So we might see price kind of trickle back into the trend line, and if it does, we actually might see it break lower, come back to this zone and then push, or we might see it trickle here to this trend line and then push higher, or we might even see a momentum move down, a continued momentum move down, and come back up, test this level, and then drop further, right? But there's no immediate entries for me. I'll just be keeping an eye on it to see what happens. So if I see something like this, back to the trend line, something like that, then I'll look for further long positions because there's this level, this minor level here. So I'll see how price is acting with it. Just this level here, right? It's not the clearest, it was disrespected here, but respected here, is respected in these areas here. All right, so I'll just keep an eye on it, see how price is acting around here, and if I'm seeing the type of price action I like with some kind of bullish rejection, or it starts to move in that bullish direction, then I'll look for an entry. Alternatively, as I said, if it continues to move lower, I'll see how it interacts with this level here, because as you can see, right, you have this level here, this level here. So I'd like to see how it interacts with here if it comes down. But even if it does break through and come back to this level, this is another level, right? So there's a few areas of support that needs to be disrespected before my bias is to change to short. So that's why I'm saying I'll wait to see how price is interacting, wait for it to make that momentum move, come back up, test it, and then I'll drop, right? Look for shorts. So I'll keep this on my chart just because I think it's an interesting pair for this week, because of the levels that are being formed in here. So it's just a matter of looking at price action to see how it plays out. EURJPY, this one was interesting. I didn't have it in the recap video, but in my outlook video last week, remember, I don't know if you guys will remember, but I was saying that we had this move up and then this kind of corrective move into this level, right? And we might see that price push up to the top of this level, and because there are a lot of people in this area that will be taking short positions. So what I said was you might actually see price push up higher to take out a bunch of people's stop losses, which is what happened on Thursday, because this was the Thursday candle last week and this was Friday's candle. Friday's candle looks like it is currently just retesting that broken level. So we'll see what happens from here, right? We could see it push back into, push back lower and continue to go short, or we might just see it reject from this level and continue higher, right? But as I said, I'm not trading this, but I just find when I like to look at price action in these areas to see what is happening, because I just find it interesting to see how price moves when it gets to these kinds of levels, right? So I'll keep an eye on it. If I see some strong momentum up to the upside and then a further push back into the level, I'll look for longs, or we might just see that corrective move back in, momentum move out, come up, retest, and then I'll look for a short position. So I'll just keeping it on the list for now, because I find it's interesting. EURNZD, I'll just update this, but this is the same analysis from last week. So we had a break of the level, right? So now we're just waiting to see continued momentum down, come back up to retest, and then probably look for further short positions, right? So yeah, I'll just be keeping an eye on this, right? EURUSD. So as I said in the update video, the recap video yesterday, sorry, my outlook is still the same as last week. So what I'll be looking for is price to curl over, come back into this broken level, and then look for further long positions, right? So this outlook is still the same, and I'll be keeping an eye on it, but it may take a few days for this to play out, if it is to play out. CADJPY, this played out as expected last week, so I didn't do a recap on it yesterday because I didn't trade it last week, but we had this trend line that I drew in, and I said what we could see from here is a further push up into this level, and then if we get momentum out of it, come back and retest, then I'll look for long positions. My bias on this is still the same, but as I said last week, we're still stuck in this range, right? You have this massive range that is happening. So what you might actually see is a rejection from this level, and then it might trickle back down, right? So you might actually see this kind of price action happening, right? Something like that. So that might actually happen, and if I start to see this price action happening, then I'll look for breaks of levels, retest, and then go short. That is how I will trade this range. But for now, my bias is long because price is continually going up. So I'll wait for a break, retest, and then look for further long positions. USDCHF. This is the same analysis from last week again. So just kind of waiting. That's why it's still red. No, actually it was yellow last week. I just turned it to red because it might take a few more days to play out, right? So, so from here, it's still the same. I'd like to see that move up into this broken area of support. I want to see it tested as resistance, which would be a confluence of the 50% fib, and then we'll look for further short positions targeting previous lows, right? So if this happens, I just want to be part of that move. So keep an eye on that. USDCAD. All right, so this one, I'll leave this one as yellow and just update this a little bit so we know. Okay, so let's see. All right, so what I'll be looking for is a move like this, right? So price to push down into this level, which is a level we identified back in the past over here, right? So I want to see price push into this level, push back up, get some rejection, and then I'll look for a confluence trade with the trend line, possible fib confluence, and then look to target. Oh, sorry. Yeah, look to target further lows, which would be down here, which is the next level, right? So I want to see that breakthrough, come back up, test it with rejection, and then look for further targets. Initial targets will be this level, and then further targets in the past, right? USDJPY. This is, I was keeping this on my watch list only because of this area here, right? So let me just neaten this up just a little bit. So we have that there. Okay, that probably looked the most valid for me. I always look for the first two touches and then whatever lines up in the future, sorry. You know, I'll just keep an eye on. This trend line here I'll get rid of because I don't think it is going to be as valid. Well, I'm not going to use it as any part of my analysis for entry, so I'll just get rid of that for now. Update this because actually I'll just delete that. Okay, so what I'm looking for from here is a push into this level, some sort of rejection, and then look for further short positions back down to target here, right around this area. So what that will probably look like will be something like this, right? You know, I'll probably look for some sort of price action like that, right? No need to drop to the lower time frames on any of these pairs just yet because there's nothing immediate that I'll be looking for, right? So, but when I'm ready to enter, I will drop to the forward time frame and have a look, and that's where I'll look for my rejections and entries. AUDCAD, this analysis is still the same as of last week. So we had that break of this significant daily level. Price continued to move higher this week, but for me to find a clear entry on this pair, I'd like to see it pull back into the level and then look for further long positions, right? So I'll just keep that on the list. AUDJPY, I added this to the outlook for this week, and it's purely because of this level that was broken here. Not the cleanest of levels, but if we drop to the forward time frame, you'll see that price did have a nice rejection in this area, right? And it was never retested. So I'd look for price to come back into this forward level. It may not be the biggest move, but you know, I'll target something like that, right? It may struggle around this area, but I think that will be a pretty decent trade, a nice simple setup for this week if it happens. So stops will be beneath this area. This would be my area of invalidation. So if price closes beneath this, if price closes beneath this, then I'll consider it invalid. Target the previous highs. Right, so that will be a nice trade this week if it sets up. AUDNZD, I'll just keep this on the list for now, but there's no real clear price action for me. Price still has a hell of a lot to do, so I'll just update it just that little bit so we can see. So I just want to see price continue to move higher, clearly break past this level, come back, retest it, and then look for further long positions, right? And then we could probably target these highs of the past. AUDUSD, this is a trade that I took last week. I took it around this level. The price is still kind of at this level, but I don't know what we'll see, right? We could see price kind of, you know, come back into the level. It already rejected it on Friday. You might see it bounce from here and push up. I just want to keep an eye on it to see how price is reacting. I don't particularly like this lower high that it formed with this bearish engulfing candle. So I don't know, you might see price just break through here, come back up, test it and drop, right? But I just keeping my eye on it because it might be interesting. So you know, we could see it bounce from here and just push higher and maybe come back and test that level, this level here that it will probably break, and then look for further longs, or you know, it might just crash through, continue crashing through, come back up, test, or even test this level depending on how hard it crashed, you know, and then look for further drops, right? I don't know, you know, it might actually, it could crash through, bounce at this level, come back up, test, and then drop. Who knows? But I'll just be keeping an eye on it to see how price plays out this week, right? Just keeping my options open. And then I think the last pair, I have some NZDs on the list. Okay, so NZDCAD, very similar setup to a couple of the odd pairs, but we had this level that was broken in the past. Price is currently moving back into it. Just update that. Right, price is currently moving back into it. If we see price reject this level on a 4-hour time frame, I'll look for long positions, right? Targeting these levels. What that trade will probably look like is entering at the level, maybe a little bit deeper if I need my level just a little bit. One moment. I see now we have that nice area there. Okay, hold on. Let me fix. So sneaking this up like so. Okay, that might be. Yeah, so something like that. Okay. All right. So yeah, what I'll look for is a push into this level with rejection, right? Yeah, a push into this level with rejection. Stops will go beneath these wicks. Nicely beneath these wicks, and I'll target sort of like maybe this for a previous high, or this for final targets. Something like that, right? So I'll keep an eye on this. NZDJPY, similar to AUDJPY. So I'll just keep an eye on it. And we had that. So I didn't cover this in my recap because I didn't get an entry on it. But if you look at the analysis from last week, what I said was we could see price trickle back into this level, right? Beat around. I thought it may come to the trend line, but it didn't quite. But trend lines for me are just additional confluence, right? It's not, I don't take trades purely based off of the trend line. But anyway, we saw price push into the level, it pushed up, came back down, tested, and then we had that strong bounce. But I didn't catch an entry on this trade, unfortunately. But analysis played out as expected. So what we might see from here is a push back into these highs, right? Because this was the last sort of level that was broken. So I'll just delete this. Okay. So if we see price push back into this level, right, show some rejection, then I'll look for a trade up to these levels, right? So I'll just be keeping an eye on this for this week if I manage to get an entry. Right, so something like this. Again, we'll have to see how price interacts with this level if we get the rejection that we're looking for. So I'll just keep an eye on it. And last pair is NZDUSD. So this was a trade that I took on last week, which I think was Monday. I took this trade on Monday and targets were hit. So this week I'll just continue to keep an eye on it. So our analysis is still the same, right? We have this steep trend line together with this zone that is broken. If we see price come into this level and see what sort of price action is forming on the lower time frame, then I'd look for another long position. But because we already had that move up, let's get rid of this for now. Yeah, because we already had that move up, and it didn't really push much further, right? So what we might see is price disrespect this level and come back into these levels here, or maybe even these levels here. But I'll keep an eye on it. If I see price come back into my level here, then I'd look for a long position, right? And I'd look on I'll just go to the 4-hour time frame. Yeah, so if price comes back into this level, then I'd look for entry in and around this area. So we'll see how it plays out. It might, right, because of this rejection that I'm seeing here, at this level, you might actually see price just bounce from here, and just push up, right? So I'll keep an eye on it and see how price plays out. I'll just put that in here. So we might actually see something like this just take off from right here, right? So it may not even come back into the level. You might just see price take off from here. But I don't know. I'll just keep it on my list and see how it plays out. Yeah, I think that's it for the week. So, you know, hopefully we have a nice trading week like I did last week. No immediate pairs jumped out to me to excite me for any immediate entries like EURAUD did last week, but I don't know, we'll see. You just have to wait around and see what the market does. So, all right, well, hopefully you made it to the end. If you did, thank you for watching. If you like what you see and you want to follow me on the journey, feel free to subscribe. And obviously, if any of this was helpful, feel free to share it with anyone that you believe may gain some value from my very basic method of trading. All right, thanks for watching. I'll catch you next week.